Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we've got a full studio here today. We've got Bob Savage, and we've got Kevin Wilson.
Howdy.
Jolly, jolly.
Yep, so today is New Year's Eve, or Christmas Eve. Sorry, wow, I'm skipping way ahead here. Yep, Christmas Eve.
All-purpose show. We'll have some Easter greetings in here, too. So we just plug the show in whenever we want.
Yep, wherever we want to go, that's where we're going to go. Today, we're going to talk about how to talk about politics without ruining Christmas. But
good luck with that.
Yeah, so this is a Christmas Eve special. This is what we're going to talk about. But before we jump into that, I do want to address a question that we had on yesterday's show. So we're going to talk a little bit of politics first, and then we'll jump into the main topic, because I forgot that I had told Garrett that I'd address these questions, and they're actually good questions because Kevin's here, and Kevin will be able to speak to some of these.
Oh, great.
So Rick had asked some questions. Yesterday's show was about how to run for an elected office in New York State. And it was really surrounding the process, how to prepare yourself, how to talk about this with your family, make sure it's right for you, all of those things. And the question kind of came up about how libertarians can get cross endorsements or get on primary ballots for other parties. Garrett mentions that he had made good connections with people who are registered conservative, but he didn't really know about that. And for those of you who might not know, Kevin is currently the chair of the Monroe County Libertarian Party, and him and I both know quite a bit about the topic, but I figured we'd address it really quick because I said we would. So, Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So on the topic of cross endorsements, the Libertarian Party occasionally offers cross endorsements of candidates. We vet each of our candidates to determine whether or not a cross endorsement is worthwhile. So in order to do that, let's say you wanted to run as a Republican or Democrat and also pick up a few other ballot lines. Chances are the Republican and Democratic parties are going to require you to be enrolled in that party before they'll let you run on that line. They're usually pretty strict about that, although they make occasional exceptions. So you could do that. You have to work through that party process, get the ballot signatures as you talked about to get into the primary. With cross endorsements, the way it's going to work moving forward from here is that if you're not enrolled as a libertarian, you can approach the party for a cross endorsement, and then you can gather the signatures to get on the primary ballot. What's going to need to happen first, though, is if you want to have your name appear on the primary ballot when you're not enrolled as a libertarian, is you need to get a Wilson Pakula form. So the state party chair actually needs to sign off on that. So if you're thinking of running for, say, assembly within Monroe County or a state senate district, the county parties would probably be the ones to vet you. They would interview you, make sure that you are a good fit for the party, and then if the vetting committee determines that you are a good fit for the party, they'd make a recommendation to the state committee, who could issue you a Wilson Pakula form if they wanted to.
Yeah,
The state committee could still say, no, we don't think this is a good fit. It's technically their call, but they usually go with whatever the recommendations are of the local parties.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, what is it, Wilson Pakula form?
So
it's this magical document
magical
that allows you to run carrying another party's banner, even though you're not registered to that party. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in order to do that, again, the state chair of the party needs to sign off on that. So same thing happens with Conservative Party, Independence Party, all those things, is they have different mechanisms for doing this. But at the end of the day, like, they need to get permission to have their name appear on the primary ballot.
Yeah.
Now, there's a way to get around that. You can do what's called an opportunity to ballot. And it kind of almost works like a write-in for a primary. So, I mean, you know more about that process than I do, but
I don't know that it's ever been successful.
Yeah.
So it's like there is a loophole here. People have tried to exploit it and failed miserably. But yeah, you could opportunity to ballot, which essentially creates a primary for that party. Where the people who are voting in that primary have the option of the candidate that the party has selected or whoever's collected their petitions and got themselves on the ballot, with a box also for write-in. So they could potentially write in your name instead of filling in the circle for the party's choice, essentially. And write-in campaigns, we've talked about a couple times on the show, but it's been probably a really long time, are very, like, almost always unsuccessful. I don't know of any that have been successful, but I'm sure there may be one or two.
Senate race in Alaska.
There you go.
That's one of them.
So one in Alaska.
And
there
with a
you
name
go.
like Murkowski, too, which is amazing. People had to write that all out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, if you are thinking of running and you want the Libertarian Party ballot line, I'll tell you, a lot of county affiliates are going to be very strict this year on cross endorsements. So you're going to have to really sell it to them. It'll be a little bit easier to get through, although they're still vetting candidates pretty well if you're running just as a Libertarian. But I know the cross endorsements, at least in Monroe County, we're going to be very strict on who we give those out to, that we'd prefer to run our own candidates.
Yeah, and Rick had a question, too, that I think we can address before the break comes, which is, he says, I was formerly a registered Republican. I then switched to independent, back to Republican, then conservative, now libertarian. It always made sense when I did it. Then the parties let me down. Do you think this would be a hindrance to ever seeking elected office as a libertarian?
Having switched parties?
Yeah. Yep.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, because we have lots of people who were part of another party and switched over, including both you and I.
Yeah, exactly. We started somewhere else.
We were both Republicans at one point, and we have other members of the local party who were once Democrats or independents, and very few of us were libertarians right at age 18. Just a lot of us didn't know that was an option, and we switched over. So I would say to that person who's asking the question, nope, that's fine as long as you're kind of with us on the issues and you're interested in running and you have the capacity to be able to run effectively. It wouldn't be a hindrance at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Jim comments and he says, nice hat. So for those of you who are listening on the radio, I am wearing a green and red elf hat. It comes fully equipped with elf ears and everything, just to kind of jump into the Christmas spirit here. Kevin's got a hat on too, but
it's got like a little newsboy hat. I'm looking not at all festive. I mean, it's a holiday sweater, unlike yours, which is bright green and it's got a T-Rex eating a reindeer.
I'm pretty sure it's a reindeer. Yeah,
maybe a moose.
It could be a moose. It might be a moose. I'm not sure. A moose, a reindeer, whatever. It's festive. It's got reds and greens and hints of, I think, blood. But
blood coming out of the antlered critter that's getting eaten alive.
Yes, not my blood.
Very
or
festive.
Somebody else's, but
very colorful.
Certainly
it makes a statement for sure.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So we're going to take a real quick break here on Radio Free New York. When we come back, we're going to kick off the discussion about how to talk about politics during Christmas without ruining Christmas. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hi, Bob Savage here for the WYSL station. So times are tight, and you've got to watch every penny. How to get maximum advertising impact without shelling out maximum bucks? Well, there's print media. Of course, there's a reason why it's called the incredible shrinking daily paper. Then there are those penny savers and shoppers, 98% of which hit the recycling bin without ever being opened. And are you really looking for customers who are shopping for used tires and playpens? You could try cable TV, 500 channels, 12 viewers per channel. Or how about hiring some guy in a day-glow orange wig to dance holding up your sign down at the corner? If you want real advertising impact with a quality message for savvy consumers who actually have money to spend, WYSL has a giant 20,000-watt signal and 2 FM channels at 92.1 and 95.5, covering 1.4 million people all over Rochester and the region, literally all the way to Pennsylvania. Get results, save time and money. Call us, get on board, and start growing for 2020. 346-3000 or WYSL1040.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we're going to talk about how to talk about politics without ruining Christmas. And Kevin, I'm going to let you lead off with just this brilliant article that somebody wrote about how to have a great time on Christmas.
Yeah, so this is an article written for Thanksgiving, but a lot of the same messages apply here. And it was written by someone at The Nation. And I saw a lot of pushback on this online when it did come out. But this article is titled, "This Thanksgiving, It's Time to Take on Your Conservative Relatives." Contrary to popular opinion, the holidays are not a time to navigate your uncle's bigoted MAGA jokes. They're time to confront him. And I'll read the first couple paragraphs.
This is going to go really well, I can tell.
Because it's something else. It says, every holiday season, there's a flood of articles, features, and puff pieces telling you how to have a safe holiday dinner with your family. You know, one that avoids hot-button political disagreements like, so are we going to impeach the criminal president or nah? This year, CNN made an entire flowchart to help people navigate politics over Thanksgiving. How weak. How pathetic. We stand on the precipice of losing our American character to the forces of authoritarianism and bigotry. For many people, this holiday season will be the last face-to-face encounter with family members before the most consequential election of our lifetimes. And yet, many people are desperate to pass the potatoes without starting any uncomfortable conversation. The holidays are when your resistance is needed. And the rest of the article goes on pretty much in that same
And it goes downhill from there?
Yeah. It gives you some of the tactics and issues to confront, including picking a fight over the football game. So,
does it have tips on, I don't know, kind of protective wear, like you should have a helmet, maybe a face mask.
Yeah, no, goggles at least.
Yeah.
Full face mask
bare
preferable.
minimum. Yeah. So this just reminds me of a Winston Churchill quote, which is, "You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks." And, just this idea that if you live in perpetual conflict, you're not going to get like anything done. You're not going to get your goals accomplished. It's not going to happen. And for me personally, the holidays are supposed to be about family, like not politics, but
and not things that keep us apart. We're supposed to talk about and do things that bring us together.
Exactly.
Politics is the antithesis of that.
Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find something more polarizing than politics today. Like I can't think of anything more polarizing than politics. So this idea that you should be taking advantage of a time that's supposed to be a good family gathering and try to ruin it with the politics, to me is just an awful, terrible idea. We should focus on family. We should focus on the togetherness that we have.
Alcohol is good.
Yeah,
but definitely in favor of beer. In another broadcast, we talked about mulled wine. Mulled wine is a great a social lubricant, I want to say.
Yeah.
Gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling inside. But I mean, it takes so much energy to be angry. Just consider what's implicit in what Kevin just read to us. That's one angry person that's writing that. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. I don't think it was funny.
Oh no, it was absolutely serious.
Yeah,
that's an angry person, and that takes to maintain that level of anger is exhausting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's no good. You should be making cookies, drinking eggnog, just sharing gratitude and happy times throughout the year.
Brown liquor.
Brown liquor. Yeah, absolutely. I'm no stranger to that.
Maybe it's
that kind of hangover.
throw a cigar in there too. It's good.
Yeah, there you go. If you're getting a hangover, you're just not drinking the good stuff, guys.
Apparently, I never am. This is a political show. We're not dismissing the importance of politics, but I think it's not only frustrating, but it's often ineffective to try to bring up politics in such a confrontational manner at family gatherings where most people are having the same expectations that you do have laid out. This is a time to get close to your relatives. Maybe you're only seeing them once, twice a year. Yeah. And people want to just take that time to kind of build those connections and to reconnect with family members that you may not get to see very often.
Yeah.
I just want to toss this in too. It is possible. I mean, it is possible to have a discussion, a productive, even fun and entertaining discussion with someone who's the polar opposite of you politically. And we do it. We have done it numerous times on this radio station. We just wrapped up a year of Julie Jordan De Palma's We Concur. Yep. The whole concept behind that show was the two people with opposite ends of the political convictions can have productive and actually have fun on the air, and we did that. Yeah. And we used to have Alan Combs on the radio station, who is, may he rest in peace, a hilarious guy, very entertaining. We for 40 years have abused each other good-naturedly. He's an Ithaca College guy I went to school with, and of Hannity and Combs, and we had his show on here, and the show was entertaining. It was fun. Yeah. Even though it was, he was clearly a liberal. Yep. So it can happen. But, most of the time it doesn't, because you get what Kevin just read to us.
Yeah. And I've got some friends that are very much on, very distant in the political spectrum from me. And, most of them actually, they live in say New York City, for example. We get along great. We can check politics at the door, have a great time with each other. And even when we do talk about politics, we can have a civil discussion. We can disagree on things. We can be open-minded, which I think is one of the biggest things we're missing out nowadays, is people just not listening to respond, but listening just to hear somebody else's side, and then look at the information, and be open about it. And I think you'd be surprised as to like how many fights disappear when both sides just take a few moments to take a step back, take a deep breath, and be like, you know what? Let me listen to what you guys say.
Yeah.
Let me just hear it, and just listen through it.
Yeah, and I think that's, kind of jumping into the advice section is one of the first things that you should do if you are engaging in any sort of political discussion with a family member is you don't treat them the same like as you would some stranger or political opponent, right? Like you're not talking with Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton here. You're not talking with an elected official. You're talking with your cousin, right? You're talking with an uncle or a brother or sister. So like if that's who you're talking to, you need to kind of take that approach where this is someone I need to have dinner with in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. This is someone I still want to be able to get along with. And I don't need to attack them. I don't need to like take them down. I don't need to own the libs in the living room.
Yeah.
You want to have a productive conversation.
Well, and there is so much fake news on the internet and on social media and even in newspapers and on television that we literally have fake news Fridays on this show. I mean, that's how much there is. So, going at somebody and fighting with them over something that they might actually believe is true, like there's other ways to do it. You could show them that it's not true and just be open with that discussion.
We can't all have the same ideas. I mean, that's just not possible.
Yep.
And so what it means is we have to be able to get along with people with whom we disagree. We have to have different ideas out there. That's kind of the nature of our society, and it's also human nature.
Yeah.
But just because somebody disagrees with you on, I don't know, pick whatever topic you want, doesn't mean you have to hate them or that they're a vile and despicable person.
Yeah.
And me being a libertarian for several years too, you kind of have to learn to navigate some of that too. Because I know I'm going into a family party where I'm the only one who has like a certain set of opinions that no one else in the room is going to share with me. Sometimes, so I've got to go in and be like, all right, I can't just like be combative about this.
Yep.
I've got to kind of introduce the idea gently if we're having this sort of discussion and try to think of where they are politically and kind of meet them halfway and then deliver my argument in a way that they're going to understand.
Yeah. This almost sounds like the beginnings of a messaging topic for candidates who are running for office. That's not what we're talking about today, but
here's how you win over your family.
Here's how you win over.
We talked about winning over your family yesterday. Like this is no, I'm kidding. Don't.
I just don't know
the best time.
I don't know how we've gotten into this place where there's a certain part of the political spectrum who believe that anybody who disagrees with them that's actually tantamount to violence. That's an assault.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's like happening across the board, right? It's happening across all age groups and all political ideologies where people are starting to get to the point where they believe if you disagree with me, you are just so wrong that it's violence against me, or if you disagree with me, you don't deserve X, Y, or Z, which to me is just like the most terrible thing that society could be coming to, because we had some of this stuff happen before, like not to bring up awful times, but we all remember the Holocaust, right? And when we start imprisoning people that are different than us and doing awful, terrible things to them. So certainly taking that sentiment to a family gathering is not going to give you a good time. Not at all.
Yeah, you can remembering, and I think it's easier with his family because you don't other them, you don't think of them as like unhuman, right? Like they're not some distant dangerous force. It's like no, this is again my relatives who's sitting in my living room. So you think of them as a person, you think of them as a complete human, and you can kind of try to empathize a little bit more. And again, I'm not saying you have to agree with them or even that you have to let their really bad ideas go totally unchallenged because I'm not one to do that.
No, but you can totally challenge them. Just let them finish first. Yeah.
And that's kind of my bigger point is just again approach this in a way that isn't isn't so combative that you're going to come to blows.
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask? I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think you need to like throw down over like the politics of football, at a Thanksgiving dinner or, at Christmas. It's not the place to pick the fight.
Save that for Festivus.
Exactly. That's when you do it. That was Monday. That was yesterday.
You missed that.
So, yeah, that's when you shout out, I've got a problem with you people.
Make sure you use that term too, you people.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, guys, we're going to take our break. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about tips and ideas as to how you can have these discussions without starting a fire and burning Christmas down during the holidays. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Now, more than twice the power.
WYSL.
More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the Newstead NBC Weather Center for tonight. No issues out there. We have a partly cloudy sky, just a seasonable chill in the upper 20s and low 30s on Christmas Day. We're looking at sun and clouds and mild weather in the 40s. Clouds will increase on Thursday, and we may actually get some rain showers arriving as we look ahead to Friday, with temperatures warm once again near 50. I'm Rich Cadelia, WYSL.
The following is a real abortion news update. She found out she was pregnant. It wasn't planned. She was engaged. He was building his trade. What would her family say? Would they be
To Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Trends are moving local, from sourcing local farms to shopping small businesses. So why are you still with that big, cold, nationwide bank? St. Pius Federal Credit Union is inviting you back home. And coming home shouldn't mean sacrificing the services you want. St. Pius Credit Union offers state-of-the-art online banking, a mobile app, low fees, competitive rates, with access to dozens of fee-free ATMs. Let us show you how easy coming home can be at spxfcu.org. St. Pius Federal Credit Union.
The Rochester Lancers are home December 27th and 28th and January 3rd and 4th. Celebrate the holidays with your Lancers. Bring your team or group. It's a party, not a game. 2 Lancer Mania weekends back to back. December 27th and 28th and January 3rd and 4th. Bring the whole family. Live music, bounce house, Lancer dancers, and post-game autographs with the team. Get your tickets at ourlancers.com. Lancer Mania is running wild. ourlancers.com.
Bob Savage here for Avon Gun. Open 7 days a week.
Coming back.
Locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. It's Christmas. Time to get your favorite sportsman or woman something very special. Avon Gun in the village of Avon, 259 East Main Street.
Radio Free New York.
Welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We're talking about how to talk about politics without ruining the holidays. But before we do that, I wanted to insert some nice positive news stories too, just to, give a little bit of a bump, to the holidays. So I just saw on Facebook earlier this morning that somebody reached out to Dollar Shave Club asking them what it would cost them to buy razors in bulk to send to the troops in Afghanistan. And they told them, nope, we're not going to let you do that. We're actually going to do it ourselves at no cost.
How about that?
Thanks for that.
That's awesome.
Yep. So they shipped them 73 4-packs of their razors with extra blades and all that stuff.
73.
So,
what?
73 4-packs. So whatever that totals up, but that's what they were requesting. That's what this person was requesting. So they said, hey, we want to get 73 of these. Could we get bulk price? And they're like, nope, you can't. You can have them for free if they're going to the troops, and they shipped them to them. So
that's the Dollar Shave Club?
Yeah, Dollar Shave Club.
I'm just taking notes here because I got to do the Valor radio show after this. So I want to throw that in.
Yeah. No, it's, I'll send you the image of the stuff there too. But yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing, I think often when we talk about politics, there is that whole, if government wasn't forcing people to do good things, people wouldn't do good things. But I think we should talk about more every day about how people do good things, of their own, they do it all by themselves. Yeah. They want to be good to people. So let's roll out some tips. Kevin, why don't you start? What's your first tip for somebody who knows that they're going to go into, and you said, right, a lot of times you go to a holiday gathering and you might be the only one with your ideals. Yeah. So how do you prevent the powder keg from going off at a family gathering?
So I don't immediately start out with let's legalize recreational cocaine. That's a conversation killer. No, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But no, it's a lot of times I don't want to bring it up. I want to kind of start with pleasantries, right? I'm gonna go just catch up with people. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna immediately go into so what do you think of impeachment? Yeah. And I'm unless I'm trying to pick a fight like that one article was no, I'm not gonna immediately dive into any of that stuff. I'm just gonna catch up and be a normal human. I mean,
do any of us recall what that was like?
Try to remember. Years ago. Try to remember what it's like to just be a normal human being who exists outside of politics, and just connect with your relatives first. Don't try to bring it up in the first 5 minutes of conversation. Even if you really want to talk politics, and I really enjoy talking politics, that's why I keep showing up to this radio station. Yeah. But don't bring it. Just catch up. Just find out how your family's doing. Talk about your life. Talk about their life. And then when you do bring it up, make sure it's at an appropriate time or place, right? I don't like to start it. I don't like to start conversations about politics in big group settings. My family, we do this thing where we play a game called Pass the Trash. It's a card game that's you only get one card, and the goal of the game is to not have the lowest card. Very easy game to play. The kids are at the table. The adults are at the table. Great game. I don't start the conversation about politics when we have all 20 of us around the table.
Sure, yeah.
Because then it can easily turn into shouting across the table. If I'm one-on-one with someone and I want to talk politics and I know they like talking about politics, then that's when I might bring it up and ask them what they think about this particular thing. Or oftentimes they ask me.
Yeah. And your family, right? For the most part. So which topics could get out of control. Yeah. You know how each individual feels. What's going to really get somebody going, get them fired up, so it's pretty easy, I would say, to make sure that you avoid those topics. You don't just go charging in saying hey, I know this makes you upset, so let me lead with this, Yeah.
And the other thing too, there's always common ground. I don't care how diametrically opposed you are in terms of overall, there's always things you can agree on. Yeah. And so you want to seek those subjects out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, actually, that kind of leads into what my second tip is to find a common ground, right? Like usually, if I'm having a political conversation with someone, I try to steer to things that we agree with at least at some point in the conversation, because you know, I think that's a way to build trust, right? That's a way to be like, all right, we can agree on this thing, and like I understand your reasoning why you agree with me on this thing, and here's why I agree on this topic, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, immigration or economics or healthcare, whatever it is, you know, we'll find some common ground to talk about stuff. And then maybe we move on to other things like, well, you agreed with my reasoning here, you know, how does that apply to this situation? And then we have a good faith conversation about that.
Yeah. And I find, and I've found this year after year, more and more so, people agree on more than they disagree. They really do. I mean, even if you get people with very opposing views, you find out that they usually agree on 80% of what's going on. And the last little bit is going to be what they're really fighting about. You know, so if you can cut that 20 to maybe 30% out, you can have a pretty good time agreeing on stuff and having hearty conversation, talking about whatever that is that you guys agree on.
Put yourself in the other person's, you know, shoes. I mean, don't show up wearing your MAGA hat. You know, like Andrew's wearing his MAGA elf hat right now. And if people on the radio could see that, some people might be upset.
All right, leave my anarchist hat at home. Right, I'm gathering good tips here too.
Wow, Kevin, your whole outfit tomorrow is going to be changed.
Switch everything up now.
Don't tread on anybody's shirt, and you know.
Yeah, no, I don't usually wear my libertarian gear to the family gatherings. Although
I think libertarian gear would be probably the most unobjectionable that you could find. I mean, it's kind of, that's the middle ground, right?
Yeah,
so I mean,
I do have like a "Don't Tread on Anyone" shirt. Although what I wore to Thanksgiving is I have this pink shirt, and it's Abraham Lincoln holding two AR-15s on a Tyrannosaurus Rex with wings, and it says freedom, and that is not a political shirt necessarily, but it sure does get commentary.
Certainly not.
So one thing I would add is avoid talking about things that you're not well educated in. Like if you're gonna bring forth, like
what you're saying is know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because I know, but right, you know, we all have opinions on things, and sometimes you lead with a very strong opinion just to find out later you were really, really wrong. And a bad time to do that is going to be on the holidays. So if somebody brings something up that you've got a really strong opinion on, but maybe you don't know for sure. You know, you saw it in a Facebook meme.
How can I be wrong? I Googled it.
Yeah, you know, you saw it on some maybe questionable news website. Don't die on that hill. You know what? Maybe just let that one slide, and then later do the research and see, and bring it up next holiday if you need to. But you know, don't let hard opinions and heavy emotions drive the conversation, especially if you don't actually know for sure what the facts are. That is, I think that might be number one for me. I don't know.
Bad form,
yeah. It's probably a good plan. Just don't look ignorant. No, and there are some actual good articles out there too on this topic, and there's one. It's from someone who's coming at this from the left. It's Ibram X Kendi, but he's approaching this on of like he thinks it's important to talk about politics and the damage that Trump's doing. So he's approaching it this way. But I think he does make a good point. Is that if you want to have productive political conversations with your family, the important thing is to build trust, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if you come in, and we've kind of hit this a little bit already, but if you come in attacking them. And you come in trying to start a confrontation, they're never going to like be able to bridge that gap between what your opinion is and theirs. They're going to shut down. And that's why I see, you know, I've seen it at other family gatherings, the two polar opposite sides, anti-Trump, pro-Trump, and they get going about something. And it's like, it's not productive at all. So no one's changing any minds in that conversation.
No, yeah, totally. And here's another thing you can do. If you're unsure how to win them over, get them some links to Radio Free New York. Make sure they listen to the podcast.
The perfect gift.
And, it doesn't even cost you anything, All right, guys.
You can also say, if you don't stop arguing, Santa won't come.
Yeah, there you go. Santa's not going to come. Yep. Get the kids all riled up. That'll be great. All right, guys, we're going to take our break here on Radio Free New York. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Human trafficking is when someone is being forced, tricked, or coerced to engage in a sex trade or forced labor. If you're a kid and forced to sell sex, drugs, or work against your will, that's trafficking. You're not a criminal, and there is help available. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888 or text Be Free. Sponsored by the Livingston County Safe Harbors Human Trafficking Task Force.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right. Welcome back to Radio Free New York. This is your host, Andrew Hollister, and I've got another heartwarming news story for you guys.
Wonderful. Love it.
So we have a 5-year-old who paid off lunch debts for 123 classmates by selling cookies and hot cocoa. Now, I don't know if she had a permit for this, but she, so it says she was inspired to peddle her baked goods after she overheard a student's mother talking about how she was unable to afford an after-school program for her child. And it had to do with, I guess they had to buy school lunches and they had to choose between lunch or this after school program. So she did a lemonade stand over the summer. And then since it was cold outside, she switched to cocoa and baked goods. So that's awesome. Pretty cool. That's great. Once again, people will do good things for other people if given the opportunity to. So that's an awesome thing. I also want to give a shout out to Dennis and Debbie Koch. They sent me and the station a Christmas card. Thank you guys so much. And I think Bob wanted to read the poem in there.
Yeah,
right?
I just thought we share this with folks. Dennis and Debbie Koch help us bring this program to you every day. Dennis is behind Aircraft Industries. Is it Aircraft Environmental? Environmental.
Yep.
And Dennis is a remarkably talented artist and is very creative in terms. And every Christmas he does this little Christmas poem in the form of a greeting card that he draws, and it always has kind of like a motorcycle theme.
Yeah. And Dennis and I have rode. Actually, Dennis helped teach me how to ride my motorcycle.
Right.
He's an awesome guy.
Just doing a word picture here. There's a little line drawing here that Dennis did of a movie theater. It's the Frigid Cinema, and what's playing is It's a Thunderful Life and Miracle on 34 Flathead. And there's a Santa guy on a Harley driving by. And anyway, inside the little poem goes, if movies of our lives are made from scripts we get to write, then Christmas time may be that scene we put our hearts aright. While gracefully embracing gifts and blessings that we share, might we as wisely let go those regrets and wounds we bear. See our previous conversations about talking about politics. Imagine every sin and hurt and bid them hauled away in all that magic cargo space that's left in Santa's sleigh. And he sends Merry Christmas, kids, your loyal pals, Dennis and Debbie Koch and the gang. So thank you very much, Dennis, for the card.
Yeah,
that's great.
And thank you so much for the support that you give the show, too. That definitely helps us out.
Wonderful.
Helps us keep this going. And then we can have shows like this where we talk about how to not ruin Christmas with politics, which is great. So I figured, unless you've got some more tips, Kevin.
No, the only other thing I was going to say is thank you, Savage Claus here, for this light up pen. Nice. A little WYSL pen and also like a little pocket knife. This is wonderful. I love this.
Yes, we give out Christmas weapons here at the radio station.
So you can't see that over the radio, but it is an awesome light up pen. So thank you, Bob, for that.
You're very welcome.
That's awesome. So, I figured we'd hit some topics that are probably bound to come up on Christmas, and topics that maybe you should avoid, or we could talk about how to discuss the topic without bringing tensions high. And Kevin, I think you came right out the gate in the beginning of the show saying like, hey, I don't show up and go, hey, what do you think about impeachment? But you guys know there might be somebody in the family that's going to bring it up anyways, right? There might be somebody, and maybe not, but I think that's going to come up, especially over the break. My phone popped a notification from the Washington Post headlining the article, will Trump be impeached twice? So they're not giving up on this. Yeah. And it's literally, about 12 hours before Christmas. So with that being said, you could just say, hey, you know what? It's Christmas. Let's talk about something else. We don't need to talk about politics. Or you could take a more, a different approach and just say, you know what? I hope the truth gets found out and justice gets served either way.
And then you send them a Radio Free New York link about the impeachment. Just tell them to subscribe to our podcast or listen to the live show here on WYSL, or go to YSL1040.com and download the episode there.
Yep, absolutely. And then I know we're going to have a follow-up to that episode as well, for sure.
I'm half joking.
Yeah, only half.
Yeah. But seriously, share the podcast.
The other thing that's probably going to come up is 2020 elections, right? Because that's another hot topic that's going on. And I think a really easy way out of that conversation without getting political, without getting fired up, without getting rallied up, is really easy. You can say, you know what? A lot can change between now and November. And you just leave it at that. And now they don't know. They don't even know who you support. They don't know who your running candidate is. You just say, you know what? A lot can change between now and November, and let them fill in what that means to them. And that's kind of a simple, easy way to get out of I think two of the most contentious conversations that are happening in people's homes right now. I could be wrong. Maybe there's something more. I mean, and there's a third distraction technique. We're going to call it a distraction technique that you can use in the event that all else fails. Carry around in your pocket a picture of Baby Yoda. And,
just show them that.
And show them that.
And then talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. It is sure to disarm anyone.
That's the way to do it.
No.
I mean, there's people out there. They're mad. They're concerned. We read that article at the beginning. And it's not. There are serious issues that they're facing in the United States, and I believe that. And I get where the anger and the anxiety is coming from in a lot of cases. It's just I think it's better to try to again build trust among family members. Or if you get into an election conversation, just say you're supporting Vermin Supreme, and then no one will talk to you.
Even the libertarians won't talk with you. So for those of you who don't know who Vermin Supreme is, he's.
Well, I legitimately love Vermin Supreme. He's great. I don't want him to win.
He's also like a really smart, brilliant guy too. When you get to have a conversation with him, but
are you going to share with the class who Vermin Supreme is?
He's the boot guy.
Yeah,
he's the guy who promises free ponies and wears a boot on his head and 6 ties and
he runs as a presidential candidate. So he's ran every year.
Rent is too damn high.
No, that's a New York City guy.
Yeah, that's Jimmy McMillan.
Yeah.
So he doesn't say the rent is too damn high. He says that we're going to have a zombie-powered future and free ponies for everyone and mandatory toothbrushing laws. Yeah. So he's...
And his entire campaign is basically a play on how ridiculous the major parties' promises are. Things like free ponies, where you can, basically draw that line to just about any program that gives you free stuff, mandatory toothbrushing time, forced healthcare programs, it's all parody type thing.
Yeah, it's all parody. It's actually kind of smart. But if you say you like Vermin Supreme, they will immediately go, okay, you like that guy, huh? Or they'll ask you about that instead of talking about the Democrats and Republicans.
Or they might give you the raised eyebrow and say, who is Vermin Supreme? And you can take that moment to open up YouTube.
He's not a libertarian, though, right?
No, he is a libertarian, but
it's all kayfabe. It's all an act.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Got it, right.
So it's definitely entertainment. It's lighthearted entertainment, and I guess it's probably better to fill your Christmas time with that than fighting about other things.
So there we go. That's the final piece of advice. Strap on your Vermin boot and
I tell you what, he came to Olean and he went shopping at Walmart and asked for their boot section and was trying boots on. I mean, and this is just how this guy gets.
What's the Vermin boot? What's that?
He wears a boot on his head,
so
like a rubber
on his head.
Boot.
Okay.
Yeah, like a muck boot, or a rain boot, and it stays on.
Kevin's getting
good.
a picture up for us.
Yep. Kevin is gonna bring up the picture here.
So this guy.
So no.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. He's electable, no question.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
No.
Maybe.
So
yeah, that's if you want to go for the change the topic in a radical direction, that's always possible too.
Yeah. And Carrie, I'm looking at the comments here, and Carrie has just an amazing idea. She says it's not political to leave voter registration forms in various places around the house with Libertarian Party already checked, is it?
I love Carrie, who's the chair of the Ontario County Libertarian Party and also part of the Libertarian Party in New York. Just relentless in getting people to register to vote. She's wonderful. Love you, Carrie.
All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us on Radio Free New York. We'll catch you tomorrow at the same time.